there's this well, there's been an outbreak of vulnerability called Log4j. It's for Java, and a lot of companies use Java as their application or their front end for their website, and hackers could exploit that. Um, One of the most notable companies is Chronos. Chronos is a HR company or provides outsourced HR to companies that um, don't have their internal timekeeping or a way to um, keep track of who's getting paid what kind of thing. So
Yeah.
they they got hit because their systems use Java, which has that vulnerability. So they've been slowly releasing what was broken into kind of thing, and the Java community has been slowly to put out fixes because putting it out too fast might introduce more vulnerabilities. Putting it out too slow is gonna make the hackers like it'll give the hackers more time to get in and do stuff, right?
So what are the hackers doing? Are they trying to like take money or information or entirely
Um,
what are they doing with it?
so basically, they'll do like a ransom kind of thing. So they'll get in, they'll find valuable information, and they'll hold it for ransom. So you either uh, pay them a large amount, or they'll sell it to the highest bidder on the black market.
Sounds like they're
Yeah,
some form of like virtual Somali pirates.
yeah, that's what they are.
Pretty
Just
much what it
that's
is.
what hackers are. Yeah.
You know, you sent me that thing I believe yesterday about how like the original internet is dead and what it is. And that got me like thinking about a lot, and it seems like the more information that went out there, the bigger the companies that ended up taking over, which if you look around, like it's true, everything's ran and owned by the same corporations, which is pretty much just putting you in a smaller and smaller room filled with all these like this information that doesn't really mean anything, and there's no freedom, there's no like when the internet first started or the web first started, it was infinite, and it seems like it's anything but infinite now.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point that oh, they're running Java. Like back then, hackers had to do stuff based on like in the individual kind of things. Well, these whole systems now are being ran by these, top tier quotes, companies, and their software, their own stuff, that once you hack one, you've technically hacked them all, is what it seems. Like I feel like we're seeing more intrusion now in our current year than we've ever seen before when it comes to like hacking and stuff. It's absolutely insane. And when it goes to the government, like I don't know, I my personal opinion, I think a lot of this stuff is on purpose, and like how all these schools are being shut down because their internet's out and the internet keeps getting hacked and all this. I think that's part of a plan. But when it comes to like your specific topic, that's literally because everyone's running the same stuff, and that's what's wrong with it. Is I mean, you have to have a whole team fighting against it at the right time. If you're gonna open it up
Yeah.
and be like, we're all on the same system with the same code doing the same thing, and there's millions of people out there with the capabilities of like messing with it, maybe that's not that good of an idea. You know what I mean? Instead of everyone being on their own kind of code, their
Yeah.
own shit, it's weird. It's weird. When I watched that video, is very interesting when it came to that. Um, yeah, that sucks, dude. So like, how is that affecting you? Like all the aspects of it. What's that doing for you? Is it messing with your
Oh.
paycheck or you know?
So yes, Chronos is being used as the payment, I guess, timekeeping in our company. And if we don't submit our time, or like people clock in, clock out kind of thing. If they don't receive that or HR doesn't know about it, they won't be able to pay people out because they won't know how much hours they worked.
Gotcha. And
Yeah,
this,
so
how big is the company you work for? Is it like huge? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's huge.
could there be some weird conspiracy in there where they could shave off 100,000 hours because of how big they are without anyone noticing?
I don't think so because if you mess with someone's money, especially when they're working for you and you don't pay them, they'll just walk off.
Right.
Like, and a business can't survive without the workers.
I mean, even if it was like $20, like an unnoticeable $20 from.
It's possible, but some people audit that. Like
Right.
they literally count their money
Mm-hmm.
when they receive it. So there's going to be people that's going to question about it.
I think this is the world we're going into. I think this is going to be a normal thing. And it kind of goes into a topic of today. And we'll get to that, which is pretty much like pushing forward the incentive of moving to a new system. And I'll leave it at that right now. But yeah, everybody listening today, we got me, Austin, we got so far Ledger, Jay, and Brandon up in here. Everyone say hello.
Hello. What's up, guys?
Hi.
Here we are. Hi. How are you? How you doing? Go ahead.
I also heard about the TikTok trend about people shooting, or all those kids shooting up schools or something.
Oh no, really? Is that where all the bomb threats and everything are coming from across the country?
Yeah, it was some TikTok trend. Yeah, all the bomb threats and yeah.
That's wild. I wonder where that's coming from.
I'm not sure, but I know that a lot of kids didn't come to school.
Stupidity.
Because, yeah, definitely stupidity. But I went to class, and one of my classes, and there was only 8 people in it.
Yeah. And I get that it's based on like, oh, this is what the cool kids are doing, which is really weird. Back in my high school, the cool kids weren't doing shit like that. They were just being assholes. And I think it's been that way for a long time, just different. This is what's going on. It's the trend that's going on. But why, if you notice these TikTok challenges, quote, is why are they so self-destructive?
I know, like the dry scooping thing. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
So pre-workout is basically a bunch of caffeine. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they're just taking it all at once. Where normally you put in a drink, shake it up, and take it over a period of time. Yeah, and there's been like multiple kids with having heart attacks.
And it's like the Tide Pods and stuff like that. Now, like, do you really believe that children are actually making these? I mean, it seems very childish of these, it's just like, the Tide Pods. Or is there like literally some form of, manipulation? Because like you said, it goes viral, which means mostly everyone your age group or younger age group would know about, right? So, I mean, it's brainwashing, but it's manipulation of the masses. And I mean, everything that's going on right now is literally to target the kids is what it is. I mean, even really young kids, but that's weird that it's all this negative stuff that seems to like be the thing. Like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I don't think kids actually think that, dry scooping protein, powder is awesome, or pre-workout powder is cool. I don't think shooting up, pretend to shoot.
I think it's just cool. What we see though, because like there's a lot that we don't see, but like that's going viral, and that's like what percentage of kids are really that fucking stupid? Is it just like 5-10% of kids that are that fucking dumb that are making these videos, but there's so many kids that it just looks like there's all of them being this stupid, or is it like literally just a generation of just stupid people?
I mean, I'd say like
which I don't think.
Right. I think, if you looked at it, maybe like 2% of kids, I don't know, 1.5% of kids are that stupid. I mean, we all know someone from school back in the day that was that dumb, but could that guy really get everyone else to go in on it? Like, no, you know what I mean? So like, how is this?
You can get like a couple more stupid people too, but that's about it.
And that internet thing that Jay sent me is that there was like a recorded like 50% of everyone online, like comments, likes, views, all that shit is bots. So literally we don't run the internet. It's by bots,
articles and shit like that. They've been swaying shit like that for a long time, for sure. Like even with this, like selling products and everything, all the fake reviews and this, that, and the other, like they're just expanding it into a different market. They learn how to make money and manipulate people. And now they used to do it with advertising, and now they're just doing it with media.
Right. And like last week there was a main CNN producer arrested for being a pedo. And then this week, Project Veritas comes out with a prostitute that is sharing audio, maybe video. I can't remember, text messages, and her story itself with another main CNN producer talking about like trying to get her to pretty much like talk about how she wants to bang his 14-year-old stepdaughter. And it's horrific. It's disgusting. It's absolutely fucked. And I think we are starting to see at this point how many of these sick bastards are out there. But think about it. If these kinds of people have enough power, to produce CNN or something, it could be somebody like that, or at least people or above them or above them and above them that think the same way. And that's why all these people are in those positions, because it can't be a coincidence. There's so many pedophiles up there. You know what I mean? They got to be working as a group and as a team. So whoever's at the top that can control these bots, that control the internet, the likes, the views, the comments, can make these horrific, destructive things go viral. And then kids, insecurities, their children and their insecurities can actually, will do this stuff, and it will hurt them. And then ultimately what it looks like to me is another satanic practice ritual. I mean, think about it, go ahead and shove this fucking powder down your throat for your 5 minutes of fame, as we watch you give yourself a heart attack at the age of 14. You know what I mean? Like that's a trick the masses into killing themselves, right? And that's just how I see it. I don't see it as, it's not some fun game. No one's getting, you know what I mean? It's like back when I was in high school, the cool thing to do was dumb as shit, but it was like the plank or the Tim Tebow,
To be fair, though, back when we were in middle school, high school was around the time Jackass came out. So we were all doing really, really fucking stupid shit.
Well, Jackass came out when we were little kids.
I guess I should say more popularized. Like they started doing like the movies and
like the big stuff. Movies in the theaters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, which these weren't like that kind of dumb. These were just like the plank was laying on your belly with your arms and legs stretched out, but they'd like.
But yeah, for sure. But that even got dangerous because they started doing it in places where like literally people got killed from it, though.
Yeah,
like even just that stupid challenge.
But most of those people were adults. If you watch them, those were like 20-something, 30-something adults doing it. It wasn't like, hey, kids, go out here and do this.
Did you see that couple? I'm pretty sure it was Instagram where they would get like those amazing pictures like on top of skyscrapers. Like they would climb like these fucking huge structures and then get pictures on top of them. And I guess they both slipped and died.
Yeah.
Like it was a while ago, but
so much. There was a famous Chinese guy.
They were huge. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a famous Chinese guy that used to go on towers and he'd like hang from them. And he did it once live stream. He'd always do it live stream, but he did one and then he couldn't get his grip on the roof again. He sat there and held there for like 10 minutes and ended up falling to his death. I mean, there is definitely extremists out there that do these things, but to go, all right, kids, now all of you go try this.
Yeah, no shit.
For literally no reward other than, we'll watch, you know what I mean? Like, and it's brainwashing them to think that views on a video are important, which is not,
Because all these kids want to be famous,
Yeah. And I mean, one guy's extremism, a couple of people's extremism, it shouldn't become everyone go do it. You know what I mean? Like, these people are professionals. I mean, they all are. to an extent. They're professionals. They do dangerous shit all the time. They train for it extensively. But for them, like if they were to turn around and go, all right, kids, go do this tomorrow. You know what I mean? That's the big line, I think, on it and all that stuff. But yeah. Dead air. Love it. All right, so guys, I got one little story for you. I've actually had this for 2 weeks and I haven't been trying to blow up into this. So allegedly, this is another alien one. As I'm sure you're all very excited for him. Has anyone ever heard of Valiant Thor?
No, I don't think I have.
Sounds familiar.
So allegedly, during the presidency of Eisenhower, there was an alien that lived in the Pentagon and was like good friends with him. So Valiant Thor, or as his nickname went, as Val, as his friends called him, was a humanoid alien living in an apartment inside of the Pentagon. Val had a tight-knit relationship with President Eisenhower and was passionate about ending the possibility of nuclear war. Like many aliens who have come to Earth, Val had a goal for humanity, and he used the existing power structures to see it through. Thanks to his human-like appearance, Val was thought to be nothing more than an advisor of Eisenhower. On March 16th, 1957, a strange craft landed in a farmer's field in Alexandria, Virginia. Local police arrived on the scene with guns drawn, expecting the worst. They were surprised to find what appeared to be an unarmed man stepping out of this craft. They were even more surprised, though, when the man asked to speak with the president telepathically. Must have convinced them, so they immediately took him to the Pentagon. Over the next few days, the visitor would receive his meeting with the president in a fully furnished apartment deep within the Pentagon. So that's how he came to be, and there's pictures of him online and stuff you guys can look up if you look up Valiant Thor. And he came from a very interesting planet, and we'll get to here in a minute. So according to Valiant Thor, he was sent here by a galactic council to convince humanity to shy away from their use of nuclear weapons. Val and his group of alien assistants hailed from the nearby planet of Venus. These aliens were humanoid in appearance with a single discrepancy of 6 fingers on each hand. Val had convinced President Eisenhower to create a council against the use of nuclear weapons. However, the committee was repeatedly blocked by members of the CIA and the DoD. When it became clear that the office of the president could not deliver the results from which he came, Val turned to evangelist Frank Stranges. Now, Stranges had long been a proponent of aliens and fascinated with the evidence for alien interactions with humanity in the Bible. He had just written a book about an angelic encounter in the book of Ezekiel when he met Valiant Thor. Val taught Stranges about the validity of some theories and about what God thought of humanity. Quickly, Frank Stranges was campaigning for Val. It appeared that since the alien couldn't use Eisenhower for his purposes, he would choose to use an author instead. So what ended up happening is the Stranges guy ends up writing a whole book, allegedly from the words of Valiant Thor. And I didn't deep dive into this because in order to do so, you have to read the book or multiple books, I do believe. But allegedly, there is an alien from Venus that looked just like human, except he had 6 fingers, pretty much. Which is interesting when we get into some other people as well, like Tesla, and allegedly how he's from another world as well. But yeah, so that's interesting. I like to bring these little alien clips in and out as I learn from them. Which, not a whole lot of proof. There's pictures of him and stuff, and yeah, fun shit. Honestly, but yeah, so that could go back to when, like, around Roswell times, since we're talking about when was it? 1957. So it was actually after, but around the time when they were using, created nuclear weapons, had them, and that's when the whole fight started. Which I've been watching a lot of stuff lately about like the Second Amendment, which is like, they created for guns, which back then the government only had guns and cannons, and you could technically own cannons. And it's like, what do we do now that we have nuclear weapons? Are people allowed to own nuclear weapons? Don't think so. It costs too much, kind of stuff like that. But then you'd have like Elon Musk with his own army if we let that happen. But I was thinking the other day, guys, too, that like every nuclear weapon that like our country has, and this would have to be like a treaty thing across the planet, would be to be able to hold stocks in each individual nuclear weapon, like give them a number code or a name, and the people could own these stocks of this nuclear weapon. And then they get paid out if it was ever used, but that's not the point of it. The point of it would be to that, like if you can't abolish a company without the majority of the company pulling out or agreeing to abolish it. You know what I mean? Unless it goes under, but then they're all screwed. But like the main decisions would have to be made by the majority of the people where what we do with this nuclear weapon. And I think that would gain some sort of like neutrality when it comes to the people versus like our own government, the United States. For Biden, he's like, you'd have to have nuclear weapons and all this stuff to be able to fight the, U.S. Army, which is funny because then, they retreat from the Taliban and give them everything they ever could need to win a war against us. But yeah, that was my thought on that too. It was like, we can't own nuclear weapons, but in a way we could, you know what I mean?
I don't have anything to say about that.
No.
Just thinking about owning the warhead or the whole missile, because it's pretty
so
big.
like if it was a stock or like crypto.
Yeah.
Like this
so
one
I'll
costs
get a piece of paper saying I own that.
Well, yeah. But it's not about like a physical part that you own. What it is you're owning the rights of control. You know what I mean? So like if the government was ever like, we want to, use, I mean, like if we were being attacked, then that's like an obvious thing. We'd send those out and we'd end up getting paid out later for our money on it. But to be like, to own parts of that, therefore, like, I don't know, just like some sort of control aspect to where the government, and it's not for like war against other people. The idea is to stop war against the United States citizens. You know what I mean? So one rampant guy can't just like send out a bunch of nukes. It would be like some sort of department that could separate that from the military and be able to control it that way. And like, you know what I mean? So like, no, the government doesn't own the nukes. The people own the nukes. You know what I mean? So if they were ever like,
yeah,
oh, we're going to come kick your ass. And it's like, well, you better come kick our ass with the weapons that we paid for, which technically all this shit's paid for with taxes, right? But to actually be able to personally, like as millions of people own our own shit and go, you don't have nukes, we have the nukes, and build some form of government around that. I'd say like give the weaponry and the ammo to the people, because we're the ones paying for it anyway, instead of Joe Biden, sitting up there going, haha, you American people couldn't beat us because, it's no, motherfucker. All those weapons belong to us. We paid for the building of it, the research, all the science behind it. But yeah, I'll be right back real quick, guys.
So how do you guys feel about that?
If I had a nuke, I'll probably sell it. Use that money to build a spaceship. Or use the nuke to power a spaceship.
Smart.
Or convert the nuke into my own portable
spaceship.
Nuclear power generator. And then just live off that. Just get a place out in the middle of nowhere, plug it up.
Mhm.
I got electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah, like electricity in the mountains, and it's good for
Yeah,
like
too.
years. Like I'll be able to power out town. People can pay me.
Yeah, start a little community and charge
Yeah.
people.
I'll pay you,
Which
Jim.
I would doubt that money would, like, if it come to that, I doubt money would be it. So probably in, like food or water or something. Which I don't know, because if you're living in the mountains like that, you can go out and kill a deer and find a spring or boil your own water to make it fresh.
True, but if you have power, you don't need to um like you do need to distill and clean out the water, but then you don't need
Yeah,
to do it via fire, right? You already got power, so just bring in like some heavy equipment, plug it up.
yeah.
The beautiful thing about water too is like I have a idea about it. Like I'd bring out my filtration system, but I wouldn't use it forever. I'd use it and slowly like if it, I don't know how many gallons it holds, maybe two or three, but I'd add the regular water to it, in increments and over time until I eventually, ran out of filtration capabilities and then would just be on that water. That way your immune system was to it, and that's how we all used to live, and people in third world countries live that way. Because you can't just like drink. I mean, some of us could. It depends on how clean the water is, but most people today in this little safety sack that we live in, we can't just drink regular, water straight out of a river without ending up getting completely sick, if not dying from it,
Oh yeah. You know that bass doo-doo? That bass poop?
Yeah. Doo-doo.
Doo-doo.
Y'all making me drink doo-doo water. The hell's wrong with you?
Well, it might be bear. Like, the bear would go to the edge, lay a deuce.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Well, and it's full of fish shit too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is delicious, by the way. I mean,
yeah. If I would if it come to that point, I'd want to get ready for it. Maybe like dig a big hole, put I don't know, make a bunker or something, and then use probably like the groundwater, that comes from underground springs. I feel like that would be smart, but I don't know if I'd really need electricity. But
no, you just drop porn on the walls of the cave.
Yeah,
and you never draw your own cave porn. You always have someone else do it, even if they're worse at drawing it than you. And then yeah,
because I'm like, yeah, it sucked, man. You already know what's happening.
No, it'd be all right. Trust me. The wild and being in the wilderness is very prosperous with minimalized
I'd bring a lot
entertainment
of gunpowder and ways to refill ammo.
I would go find a natural hot spring. That is actually one of the first things I would do.
Oh yeah, smart. I know where one is too.
That is, yeah. And they're everywhere, and they'll run right through a mountain because of the temperature and everything. And they'll run under a mountain and then out and all that stuff. And it's like purified water. I mean, it's warm, which you could end up turning into some sort of system to actually heating around your housing situation. But yeah, hot springs is like one of God's main gifts to the mountains, I would say, is the hot spring. I'd catch some baby deer and raise them. No, I wouldn't. That'd be one way to go, though, is to have a big old ranch of like deer, elk, or something.
Have a ranch of deer and elk, and then when they get big enough, fatten them up pretty good.
Fatten them up, breed them, and eat them. Yeah.
Yeah. My first one, his name would be Jarvis.
Jarvis, or guinea pigs. Yeah. People eat guinea pigs all the time.
Yeah, but that's not big enough, Too much time for little supply of meat.
Yeah, but the smaller the animal is, the more babies.
People in Florida are eating the fucking iguanas and shit now.
Oh no, are they really?
Yeah, I swear, dude.
That's
I would never eat any type of it. I wouldn't eat an amphibian or
those are thick ass lizards.
Oh, dude, I've eaten frogs before.
Yeah,
frogs are fucking delicious.
I mean frogs. Yeah, I'll eat a frog.
Just like I'm sure a lizard's pretty good.
I've never had lizards before. I've had like snake and shit like that.
They're like nasty though. I mean, I've had like alligator before, but like.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, alligator's great.
You'd pretty much eat anything.
I wouldn't eat like an eel. I wouldn't eat an eel, I guess.
Well, there's this one story of this like
eel's so good.
This runner, this marathon runner, dude, who like got lost out in the fucking desert and it was like in a different country or something, and he ended up finding this place, but he was like so dehydrated and everything that he like walked into this abandoned church or something. It was like, all falling apart and shit out in the middle of the desert or something, and there was bats in there, and the way he survived was by catching
drinking
bats.
The bat blood.
Yeah, drinking the bat blood, bro. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. But he's still alive today, and he says that like the more hungry he got and shit, like it didn't matter. Like everything tasted good. The whole like gross shit disappeared. He was just biting the heads off bats and drinking the blood out of them. It was crazy.
Did they make a movie about that?
I don't know. I'd watch it if they might have.
I'm not sure.
But all right, so this next topic I got is you guys, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it or anything. I don't know. It's called Bitcoin. You ever heard about that? Anybody ever
Bitcoin?
Heard of
No, never heard of Bitcoin.
Anybody ever heard of Bitcoin before?
What is that? Is that contagious or like? Is that a
it's
disease?
Just a bit contagious.
Oh, just a bit.
Just a Bitcoin contagious. All right, so yeah, I want to talk about Bitcoin in another essence, cryptocurrency. From what like most people hear and stuff. So Satoshi Nakamoto is the pseudonym of the creator of Bitcoin. He also devised the first blockchain database. At the time of its launch in 2009, and I'm not too sure that's accurate anymore, Satoshi Nakamoto's account had 50 Bitcoins. In December of 2017, those Bitcoins increased to $19 billion in value. Satoshi never spent the money until March 2019, much to everyone's surprise. On October 11, 2020, he moved at least 1,000 Bitcoins to another account. However, he never revealed his true identity. According to some cryptocurrency enthusiasts, there might be a whole team behind his name. Hence on that, guys. Due to the Japanese name, people continued to look for the Bitcoin creator in Japan. Interestingly, though, Stefan Thomas, a Swiss coder, analyzed the timestamps of Nakamoto's Bitcoin forum posts, and he found that almost none of the posts were posted between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. Japanese time. Also, Satoshi used very well-constructed native-level English in his posts. Therefore, Satoshi was highly unlikely to be a Japanese man. Very, very interesting. All right. So, I just was doing some more research earlier, and what I learned was actually the very first trade of Bitcoin was on October 31st of 2008, as at like the same time as the housing market crashed back then, which is very fucking interesting too. So I want to so we're talking about cryptocurrency here, right? So I want to break down his name first. So his name, Satoshi Nakamoto, and nobody knows who this is. My personal opinion, I think he's part of a multi country conglomerate Government, definitely. Like they have the Five Eyes or Five Gut, whatever the hell it is in China. But this is past China. Very descriptive along some shit. So, Sa, like Satoshi Nakamoto, SA, Samsung, Toshi, Toshiba, Naka, Nakamichi, Motorola, or Motorola. South Korea, Japan, US, and China. Samsung, Toshiba, Nakamichi, Motorola. 4 companies. Which, just so everyone knows that I didn't know before, Motorola is fucking based in the US. Like, created in the US.
Yeah.
But yeah. Satoshi Nakamoto. So there it is. So we're gonna go into now, because this is where I find it important. I learned this from Donut. Shout out there. So cryptocurrency, we're gonna break that down. So the word cryptic is a synonym for hidden, right? The word crypt is a tomb. So cryptic, crypto. The word currency is an accepted system of money. Now, if we go back to, and this goes into a whole nother shit that we're not going to break entirely into. I don't think, maybe we will in a second. But in London of 1666, during the Black Plague and the Great Fires of London, Parliament enacted an act behind closed doors called Sestui KV Act of 1666. The act being debated was to subrogate the rights of men and women, meaning all men and women were declared dead, lost at sea / beyond the sea, right? So this is what we call maritime law, and is what we live in today, because allegedly after the Civil War, the United States of America was pretty much bankrupt because of its financial situation being separated like between the two. So they needed help from Europe, which put them back into this London of 1666, England, right, of this act that helped them. And after that, we became USA Corp, and that's what we live in today. We live in a company run by the elites. We don't live in the actual original United States of America. So we live under this law, and it's called the Black Law Dictionary, and you could look it up. So this is how like the elites and the celebrities and shit get out of being fucked when it comes to this, like the legal shit when they go to court, because there's the law, like the Webster's dictionary, there's all that shit that we use when we go to court. The actual definitions of words and legal terms come from Black Law Dictionary, which mean completely different things. And it's what our English language that we use today is based on. And it's entirely different than like the words we're speaking right now mean different things according to the actual Black Law Dictionary, which is what the actual legal system is based on. Hidden. It's also cryptic, which synonym for hidden. So we got maritime law. Dead at sea is what we were, right? We were called dead at sea. Current sea. We were dead at sea. Crypto, right? Tomb. Cryptocurrency. Dead man's currency, right? And then with maritime law, for example, we got citizenship. And that goes into the banks. Like, what is a bank? Water bank, right? Tons of these words and everything. So cryptocurrency means dead man's currency. And the reason we're called dead men is because this act in 1666, it's the same reason why your birth certificate is in all capital letters. Your name, your first, middle, last name is in capital letters, because you are considered dead at sea. It's the same capitalization that they use when they put it on your tombstone. And it's because like they literally declared it as that. But what they did after the Civil War was say, well, we don't have anything to give you for this money that you're about to give us to run this organization. Well, what you can do is take your people and consider them as like a finance, right? Your people are what the reason you're getting your money. Like we own the labor. And that's why when you go and get a mortgage, it's death pledge is what it means. It's a death pledge, a mortgage. That's what that word means. Right? Mortgage or mortgage. It's a death pledge. So your whole life is based on you contributing to a factor that they've been trying to pay off for 18, when was the Civil War? However many hundreds of years. And that's what's going on. So yeah, we're all considered a corporation, dead or alive. And that's where we're a corpse. And that's like the legal system. The reason that we're actually legally able to be controlled and shit is because we're not civilians. We're not people. We are, each one of us is like our own company is what we are. And
yep.
Yeah, we're all we're a business, each one of us. And that's why all the laws that we know and we're born with and understand today, like, it's like, how can they do that? You know what I mean? It's because each one of us is our own individual, like element. We're not a person considering the law. We're an element. We're a business. We're, an
entity.
An entity. Exactly. Yeah. And that's why for example, like when an illegal alien comes across the border, they it's something like they put a lien on you, alien, like it's like business. It's a business. They put a lien on your business. You know what I mean? They take over and they own you now. And that, yeah, it's fucking crazy when you break down all these words and everything. Like the word WRD actually means sword. It is a sword. Like magic is words. Magic is made on words. And that goes back to God, where God speaks in words. And like the first thing that ever happened was the words, let there be light. And that's where it's like, you see all these symbols and everything. It's all these demonic and evil symbols, or what you think they're, even though they come from something else, but they've been taken over and infested as symbols when it comes to demonic shit or things like that. And that's because the devil speaks in symbols. And that's what these words are. That how we write them and say them and shit. Those are symbols. Speaking is different than writing. And people don't understand that these days, but yeah, crazy. Also, Bitcoin is BTC, which means 322. And that's one of the main numbers of, as well as 223 of the, like everything that we've talked about in this podcast so far. All the groups, Illuminati, Black Eye Club, the witchcraft, Skull and Bones. Yep. Which goes back to literally what's called the Pirates of the Caribbean, which is back when this deal was made. This law was made for England for turning us all into the maritime law. So yeah, technically, if you look at it, the countries. And we think this, that, we own this land. It's not about the land. How much is it? Is it 80% of the world's covered in water?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's about water. It's not about the land. And it's about water because people don't float. They sink and they drown. It's exactly what it is. So yeah, Jay, I'm sure you got some stuff to talk about on that.
Every law firm has a copy of that Black's Law book, or Black's Law. I think recently 12th edition was released, and it's a really fat book. It's used all the time in law, and like normal lawyers don't really think about it.
Yeah. Most lawyers don't, and it's not used typically in the courtroom until you get like these Ghislaine Maxwell trials kind of shit.
Oh yeah. Also, the definitions in I learned this recently. So the definitions in the Black's Law, um, it's basically the definitions, the words. Damn, how can I? I'm trying to get the words out.
I know it's so hard, exactly because our words are fucking made up, bro.
It's so you know the language Latin, right?
Yes.
A lot of current languages is based off of some sort of Latin. The definitions and the way words are defined in Black's Law is part Latin.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. I think if it was said in Latin, it'd make more sense. They literally created this language to avoid being able to be prosecuted, is what it is. The elites run by this book. The actual foundation, like I said, it's not United States of America anymore. It's called USA Corp. Many interviews with like post CIA leaders like that ran it came out and talked about it of all the branches, like FBI, all that shit. It's pretty insane when they break down how many hundreds of years this is going on. They literally plan hundreds of years at a time. Interestingly, they seem to live hundreds of years at a time unless they, kill each other. But yeah, one thing I wanted to point out to you from earlier, I was talking about that I pointed out about the comparison or whatever to crypto is that, so I believe that crypto isn't what it's meant to be. It's talking about decentralization, which is the appeal, but then you break down the history of crypto, which looking at the dates and everything when it first started, which the way it really got popularized was by the Silk Road. And the Silk Road was on the deep web or the dark web, where you could buy illicit drugs. So that's the appeal, because drug addicts will do whatever they need, or drug, dealers big time would do whatever they need. So they transferred all this drug money, right, to the Silk Road to Bitcoin. And it's like money laundering kind of shit. And that's how they'd buy their drugs and shit. Well, the guy that created it or whatever ended up getting busted, and he was obviously set up by the FBI. And his mom and everyone comes out, and that guy's spent the rest of his life in prison, but he literally was just like a manager of it. Like, he didn't run the shit. He just like kept the website up kind of thing. And he was obviously controlled by the inner workings of the CIA and FBI. But what happened after they put it all on him and everything and framed him for trying to kill a cop or something, or agent, whatever, whoever it was they took that money and they auctioned it off. And the people that bought the Bitcoins, it was, not money, but Bitcoin, was the two Vander whatever guys that originally created Facebook. It was a bunch of high tier elites with tons of money that ended up buying up all this Bitcoin, right? Well, then what happened is pretty much what that was washing the money, because if they can take this quote unquote illegal fake currency, right, that's totally built upon who knows, right, decentralization, and be able to sell it off to these elites at such a tiny low price. Well, now look at the price of it today, right? They're running it. See, now we think that crypto is decentralized. However, the people that we don't want to work with the most, the elites, own all of it. So technically it is centralized, because we're still running through their game of their pretend fake bank, right? So it's crazy what's going on with it. And then like you could go into all the like Ripple, XRP is Ripple, and we go into that whole water bank currency. I mean, there's so many words with that go into the water effect, but then there's XRP, which is Ripple. and like its symbol is something. There's so many of them that are like they're symbolizing the like demonic presences and shit. There's Elron, which has something to do with like Elon. And I was just listening to this earlier on Donut. It was crazy. They have so much stuff on there it's brilliant. But yes, so pretty much like it's all coming from the top. And as we watched like earlier this year, like me personally watched what happened with Doge. You know, they're boosting it. And then all of a sudden it dropped once everyone bought up because it hit 72 cents or whatever. But the idea is that they are tricking us into accepting this new form of currency. And my idea tonight that I've heard no one else on the internet say is the reason that our government right now is absolutely shitting on the US dollar and turning it into worthlessness is just another reason to go into crypto. Because once you are electronically based like that and they own all of it, you know what I mean? It'd be cool if everyone owned a portion. Not evenly, but, you know, up and down, somewhere close. These people own like 90% of it. Is that it'd be free market. It'd be like free range and everything. But what's going on is that once we accept the financial version of monetary value as something you can't hold in your hand, and it's on, you know, the internet and everything, like we talked about earlier, this little box now from what it used to be to what it is now, they can control and manage and watch every single effing thing you do with it, where it comes from, where it goes, and therefore they know everything that's going on. And that's what they're doing. And I think that they're destroying the US dollar to be able to turn us into this so that they can follow it. Because with cash, you can pull cash into your pocket. It can disappear for years. You can wash it. You can burn it. You know what I mean? You can't burn crypto. It's Astro. If you like this, make sure to like and subscribe for more breakdowns brought to you by the Collective Minds podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, and anywhere else you like to stream from. Check us out.